Okay, for history, we are going to start the Midwest region. All right, so if you look, you're going to see some very familiar states like this is Pennsylvania, and this would be West Virginia, and this would be Kentucky. All right, so you got to think of it in that thing, but we're going to start learning. So beside Pennsylvania, this is Ohio. This one that looks like a mitten or a hand, that is Michigan. And think of it as reaching up to grab this broken branch. All right, it's fallen into the water. See, there's Great Lakes all around it, and it's reaching up to save itself because this is also Michigan. All right, so they're not connected. I mean, they are connected by a bridge. You can actually get from this side to that side by a bridge. All right, so this is a beautiful state, but this is both Michigan. Okay, so you got to know that. And the branch is connected to Wisconsin. And these two are Illinois. Don't say Illinois. The S is silent. You say Illinois. And this is Indiana. All right, then we're going to start here. Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota. All right, so a little hint for that is this looks like a soda can that's been squished in the middle. All right, so somebody squished the soda can, right? So it got squished, so Minnesota, okay? But it's with a T instead of a D. But anyway, think of a soda can that got squished. All right, then we have North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas. All right, now I'm going to go back through them again, and I'm going to tell you a little fun fact about each state. So we're going to start with North Dakota. It says North Dakota grows more sunflowers than any other state. South Dakota has the world's greatest mountain carving, that would be Mount Rushmore, which has the faces of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. Do not talk out. Raise your hand if you've ever been to see Mount Rushmore. Oh, I got to go see it this summer. Hopefully you can go see it one day, but I got to go see it this summer, and I can show you pictures later. All right, then we have Nebraska, which has more miles of rivers than any other state. Then we have Kansas, which has the windiest city in the United States, which will be a city called Dodge City, the windiest city in the United States. Next, we're going to go back to the top, Minnesota. Minnesota has the Mall of America. It is the size of 78 football fields. So if you like to go shopping, they have a mall that's as big as 78 football fields. Iowa. Iowa has the largest cereal company in the world. Okay? Then Missouri. Missouri's town of St. Louis is called the Gateway to the West. Okay? Because a lot of people, when they were going to pioneer out west, they would start there in St. Louis. Okay? Heading out west. Let's move on to Wisconsin next. Wisconsin is the dairy capital of the United States. Okay, so they have a lot of dairy cows there. Then Illinois. Illinois has the world's first skyscraper, which was built in Chicago in 1885. So it was the first skyscraper, but no longer the tallest anymore, because I'm sure there are many that are a lot taller than it. Indiana. Indiana is the state where the first gas pump was designed. All right, now that brings us to Michigan. Michigan's Detroit is the car capital of the world. Okay, so that's where a lot of cars are made, American-made cars anyway. And last of all, Ohio. The first hot dog was made in Ohio in 1900. So that's where hot dogs were made. Okay, that's enough. All right, let's start on page 160. And we're going to continue talking about Daniel Boone. We're going to continue talking about Daniel Boone on page 160. The wagons rolled along slowly as the English soldiers cut a path through the wilderness. Daniel Boone began talking to the driver, whose name was John Finley. Mr. Finley told Daniel Boone of a wilderness west of the Appalachian Mountains that was named Kentucky. Kentucky's a beautiful land, Daniel. Few white men have ever seen it. All kinds of animals live there: buffalo, deer, black bear, elk, turkey, and geese. Indians are the only ones that hunt on the land. Corn grows as easily as grass. It's a wonderful wild place. Someday I'd like to go there, thought Daniel Boone. He saw that the English did not know how to fight against the Indians. You have to fight an Indian like an Indian, Daniel Boone would say. But the English would not listen. Only cowards hide behind trees and fight, the English soldiers answered. Suddenly arrows flew everywhere. The British had their guns, but they saw no enemy to shoot at. Though many English soldiers were killed or injured, Daniel Boone escaped. The British lost that battle, but they eventually won the French and Indian War. The frontier land now belonged to England. All right. Give the correct answer. Name 2 things Daniel Boone learned from Native Americans. So can you think of something we talked about yesterday?
I don't know, hunt without even making a noise.
All right. How to walk. How to walk without snapping a twig or making a leaf rustle. What else?
Same thing that hunters used to program the correct spot to hunt.
Yes, they taught him where would be the best place to hunt. That's where you got 2 of them confused up together.
What roots and berries
Yep.
are good to eat?
Roots and berries that were good to eat. All right. What did Daniel Boone do to help the British in the French and Indian War? 2 things we learned yesterday.
He drove a supply wagon.
Drove a supply wagon, and he was the something else. Do you remember?
Supply counselor.
The what? I didn't understand what you said. Okay, it didn't sound like you said the right thing, but I didn't understand what you said. You guys don't remember what he was? Besides driving the supply wagon, he was also their
Blacksmith.
blacksmith. Yes, he was their blacksmith, which means he made things out of metal for them, iron things. All right, one more. Who won the French and Indian War? Ben?
The British.
The British. Very good. The British won the French and Indian War. Turn the page. Oh, wait. No, don't turn the page. We need to finish reading. Daniel's family. So we see we're at the bottom. We're on page 161. Are you on page 161? Yes? All right. After Daniel Boone returned from the war, he married Rebecca Bryan. She was a good pioneer as well as a good wife. If her husband was not at home when she needed meat, she would pick up her rifle, head for the woods, and go hunting. If Mr. Boone needed bullets, she would make them for him. If he needed new clothes, she would weave cloth and make them herself. Read the Bible verse before we turn the page. This is a Bible verse that talks about a woman like that. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Proverbs 31:13. Now turn the page for real. Mrs. Boone understood her husband's longing to go to Kentucky. In 1769, she stood at the door of their cabin with their baby girl in her arms. Surrounding her were their 5 older children. Together they waved goodbye as Daniel Boone, his brother-in-law, and some other men left for Kentucky. All right, so how many children did the Boones have? Daniel Boone and his wife had how many children?
5.
No, because it said she was holding a baby and she was surrounded by 5 older children, so that's 6. So it was the other one. Daniel was part of 11. All right, Kentucky at last. Kentucky was hard to find. There were no roads. There was not even a path to lead them through the thick forest and over the mountains. At last they found their way. Kentucky was just as beautiful as John Finley had said. As they hunted, the men's pile of deer skins and animal furs began to grow, but the Native Americans of Kentucky were not happy. They did not want the white men on their hunting grounds. One day, the pioneers found themselves surrounded by Indians. As a warning to the white men, the Indians took their horses and all their animal skins. Now the pioneers could only walk. Most of the men decided to turn around and go back to their homes. But Daniel Boone and his brother-in-law were determined to stay. We will not go home without furs. Winter is coming. The Indians won't bother us during the winter. Daniel Boone was wrong. Twice, he and his brother-in-law were captured by the Native Americans. The first time, they let them go, warning them to return home. The second time, both men escaped. Still, Mr. Boone did not want to return home without furs. One day, his brother-in-law did not return to their camp. Daniel Boone never saw him again. With a large pack of furs, he started his long trip back home. Someday, I'm bringing my family here, he dreamed as he walked along. Suddenly, a band of Indians surrounded him. They took all his furs and his rifle, but let him go. Mr. Boone returned to his family without even a penny. All right, so that's where we'll stop, and we'll begin at that section next time we read.